Hey everyone, I'm going to be showing you how to play Jungle Twitch. This gameplay was in high plat, but these tips work effectively in both higher and lower elos. I'll be covering runes, jungle paths, item builds, and core champion mechanics that will improve your game. I hope you enjoy, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you benefit from any of these tips. Most other Twitch jungles take lethal tempo for late game scaling, but I recommend press the attack because it helps net early kills and snowballs your lead into mid game. Triumph helps you stay healthy after ganks, Alacrity is free attack speed, Coup de Grace gives extra damage to finish off low health targets, Sudden Impact gives lethality when exiting stealth, Relentless Hunter provides mobility out of combat and synergizes with the speed from Twitch's stealth, which allows you to get into position easier for ganks. This game we're against an Eve jungle who usually starts blue buff, and with a Yasuo mid who can outship Fizz early, I'm going to look to invade their red by stealthing through mid to get there as quickly as possible. As I stated in my previous video, I don't like ganking bot level 2 as Twitch jungle. The main reason being, if their jungler starts bot side and they see that you're ganking bot, they'll look to invade your top side jungle and get camps while you can't defend them. Besides that, some of their bot side jungle will be gone, so you can't trade the camps back effectively, setting you behind. And one of the biggest downsides of Twitch jungle compared to tank junglers is you're less useful when you're underleveled and underfarmed than they are. That being said, ganking bot level 2 is still a viable option to go for if you know the enemy jungler started topside and will just trade their bot side quadrant for your topside quadrant, splitting the map, also known as vertical jungling. Right here, I'm still scouting for a potential enemy invade just before my red spawning. If they were invading, I recommend either going directly to their red buff to try to trade buffs, or to stay and contest your own red if you're confident in your smiting ability. Now I'm going to kite the buff towards my bot lane so they can help get as much damage as possible while also not being late to their lane. As I'm finishing the red buff, I'm going to be kiting back towards my jungle to get ready to run to the red. The reason I pass for my mid instead of through river is in case the enemy warded near my jungle entrance and sees me stealthing early running a mid. You never want to let the enemy know your exact whereabouts for free because it gives them the information needed to figure out what your plan is and to act accordingly. I usually go into the enemy jungle and go toward the raptor brush so I can see if they pass through while I'm taking their red, but we immediately see that Eve is leashing raptors to her red, so I change my path and I'm looking toward the corner of the brush so I can get maximum vision around the area. I start attacking her right away so she is taking damage from me and the red buff. She starts to run towards her mid laner, but we can see Yasuo is reacting on the minimap, so I keep chasing to deal as much damage as I can to force them to leave. Since they're backing off now, I start the red buff, but I notice a missing ping from top lane, so I run away from the camp. Now that Jax is here, I activate my stealth and try to stall out the fight until Akali could get here. Yasuo has other plans and is looking to force right away. Jax leaps him and uses his E, so I look to re-engage to help him out. I'm focusing Eve because she's the easiest target to kill, and I'm looking to secure the red after she smited it to low health. I use my smite to secure the red and gain health. My priority target is Fizz because he'll die faster, so once he's in my auto range, I immediately switch focus to him while still kiting out of Jax's stun range. I end up securing the kill on Fizz, and now I'm backing off because Jax has full Conqueror stacks and I'll not win. Don't try to auto and kite him because then he'll catch up to you and be able to kill you. Instead, use your Q's movement speed to just run away. Now I'm going to start my blue buff, and a core jungle mechanic is to auto attack and move away from the buff while your auto is on cooldown. I like to leash the camps to max range in each direction before they start to reset due to their aggro timer. This is a very crucial Twitch jungle mechanic that will allow you to stay as healthy as possible in the jungle. Once the buff caught up to me, I use my stealth to gain distance again before continuing to auto, which is another thing you need to utilize to stay high health while clearing your camps. I'm looking over to mid lane and see a big wave about to crash in the tower. I start scuttle, but then I decide to go gank mid instead since my stealth is coming back up. I wait around 1 second while my stealth is channeling and then I move in behind Fizz. Yasuo lands his knock up and Fizz moves up. So I open now with 2 autos, unfortunately allowing Fizz to escape by queuing through me, which is a mistake because I should have waited to see if Fizz was going to queue onto Yasuo and waste his E after trading with him before I opened up. Something I did do right in that gank was hold onto my W until he used his escape so I could slow him more effectively. Now I'm onto Scuttle again and I use my W and Q to speed up the process. Take note that I always use my E right after an auto so I'm not casting the E animation when my auto attack is off cooldown. I see that Akali is fighting Jax, so I head top in stealth, waiting for Jax to get aggressive. Just a second after, he queues onto her, so I auto him and throw a W to slow him down to try to help Akali survive. She flashes away and Jack switches his focus onto me, so I flash as well. We end up getting the kill and it's worth it to deny him a whole mini wave of golden experience. I haven't shopped yet and I'm sitting on a lot of gold, so I'm going to recall and buy because it's important to base frequently if you want to stay relevant in skirmishes around the map. Usually your first base should be when you can buy red smite at 650 gold. This game I had a lot of opportunities around the map, so I haven't based until now. I haven't visited bot this game, so I'm looking to go to my topside jungle and clear all my camps pathing towards bot lane to go gank. It's always good to observe lanes when you have free time as a jungler to get as much information as possible. For example, looking over and seeing them use a key ability or summoner spell that your teammate might not have pinged to let you know it's on cooldown. I have my red smite jungle item so I could stay healthier in the jungle now. I start Gromp and I'm prioritizing clear speed and map information over efficiently kiting the camp to save on health. Always try to kite the camp towards where you're moving to next. Any second you save doing this can end up making the difference of you getting to the right place at the right time. Always auto and then throw your W immediately after to use the animation time of your W while your auto attack is on cooldown. I also recommend using your refillable potion to stay topped off, as long as you get the full use out of all the health regen. Whenever you do raptors, you should look to auto attack the camp, throw your W, and wait in stealth to let it stack up. Don't stay in stealth too long if the aggro timer is red, because then the camp will reset. Auto attack all of the small raptors once, as well as full stacks on the big raptor before using your E. I see that bot is getting ganked on the minimap, so I make my way over to help. Nami gets killed, but this fight still looks winnable, so I'm pinging that I'm on the way. Usually I would cut them off from behind, but I don't have the time because Raven needs help right now. I auto-ving twice and use my E expecting to kill her because I didn't take into account Tram's heal. I know they have their abilities on cooldown, so I kite towards them, reapply my stacks, while waiting for my E to come up to finish them off. I get the triple kill and now I need to shove this wave into the enemy tower, so I speed up the process while not stressing on last hitting so my bot doesn't miss as many minions overall. It's important to do this for your laners because if you don't, it will slow push to the enemy and they'll lose out on more than if you didn't shove it into tower. The reason this works is because once the wave hits the tower, your minions will prioritize the enemy tower, allowing their minions to survive, which causes the wave to bounce back in your favor. I'm looking to go and invade Eve at her blue buff that just spawned. I see the honey fruits available, so I take them to heal up along with Nami's heal to bring me near full health. Most enemies won't expect you to show up at their buff after they just came back from base. I wait a little bit in river so she has time to start the buff and look to play around my Q's stealth range to get as close to her flank as possible. I start with my W to get vision of her because my trinket was on cooldown. I made sure to smite her after my first auto to get the true damage burn going. I finish off the blue buff while kiting back to save on health so I could do Gromp as well. It's good to deny enemies camps when you can to reduce the chance of them coming back into the game. A big way to throw your lead is letting enemies farm up and stall out the game, increasing the chance of you or your teammates making mistakes that slowly lead to one game being thrown. I make sure to use a Scryer's Bloom before I recall to prevent their team from getting free information in the future. I didn't use the mechanic here, but you can recall while channeling stealth to get off a recall without being seen unless they are near your Q's stealth range. I complete the jungle item and I'm deciding on what to build against their team comp. I buy Berserker's Greaves and a No Magic Mantle to build into Wit's End next because of their AP mid and jungle, as well as Jax's mixed damage top lane. I don't need to rush Runon's Hurricane second this game because I'm going to focus on getting solo kills to push my lead in every other lane rather than team fighting. I'm pathing to my red buff right now, and since bot lane is pushed up, I'm going to look for a gank opportunity in mid or top lane. At this point in the game, I'm looking to get kills and take control over Eve's jungle, so she has little chance on recovering from her deaths and countered ganks. Fizz looks like a free kill if he walks up and Yasuo gets his Gathering Storm ready. I stealth in and Yasuo E's towards Fizz to try to knock him up. Fizz wastes his E, so I auto W and immediately ult tap to use his flash to keep him in my auto range. This allows for me to get the damage necessary for my burn to finish him off. Now I'm looking to invade Eve's topside jungle and potentially kill her while she's doing her camps. I channel my Q for the move speed and stealth so I can catch her off guard if I see her while moving through her jungle. I see her raptors are gone, so I'm expecting to find her at Krugs right as my stealth runs out. The camp is already cleared, so I make my way to top lane. Jax is pushed up and my Q is still on cooldown, so I ping it to let Akali know I'm not going to move yet. She's taking a lot of damage and getting low, but I don't want to move in without stealth and give Jax a chance to ward hop in the opposite direction to escape from me because my ult is still on cooldown. Akali ends up dying instead of just backing off, but at least I'll be able to finish the kill. You shouldn't dwell on your teammates' mistakes because in the long run, it's completely out of your control on how consistent your teammates will play throughout all your solo queue games. The best tip I have for climbing is to focus on your own mistakes and to see how you could have played certain situations better in the future. I'm shoving in the wave to get turret plating, as well as the same reason as I explained earlier to help the wave bounce back into Kali's favor. She TP'd in to help take the tower, and I used my Q for attack speed while right clicking the tower to not waste time with the stealth animation. After we get this turret plating, I'm going to look to recall and buy Wit's End components and pick up a control ward so I could take complete control over Eve's jungle. Rift Herald just spawned and Dragon hasn't been taken yet, so I'm also going to look to secure those neutral objectives to get them off the map. Fizz says they're open now and also said Vayne left and he's going AFK, so I'm going to buy items and push mid to close out the game. This is a core build for Twitch jungle that you'll be buying in most of your games. All builds are situational, but this is a good baseline to go by. Against tanks, I sometimes build Blade of the Ruin King right after completing my jungle item so I could kite them easier before buying my Runon's Hurricane. You could buy Last Whisper as a 5th or 6th item depending on if they have a good amount of armor stacked on their team. Choose between Mortal Reminder if they have healing you need to reduce in order to win teamfights, or Lord Dominic's Regards if they have a lot of health. QSS is also a good item against tanks because they usually have CC to lock down carries and stick onto their targets during fights. And with the upgraded material Scimitar, the movement speed boost can help you kite out of a situation where you would have otherwise died. Against AP champions, I recommend buying Mercury's Treads if the enemy team also has some hard CC. Wit's End is also a good choice for damage, move speed, and magic resist, along with a healing passive for damage dealt when below half health. Maw of Malmortius is great for when they have burst mages on their team and you're in need of the passive shield to survive teamfights. QSS is also a great choice for the magic resist and active effect to remove CC debuffs from your champion, reducing the chance of dying due to mispositioning. Against AD champions or assassins, Ninja Tabi is a must buy unless they aren't able to stay on you in teamfights easily. Phantom Dancer's passive shield is really helpful to survive the burst from assassins and is also a core item in your build. GA is good to buy if the fights are very close and you think you'll be able to change the outcome of the fight upon reviving. Bloodthirster is great at keeping you safe when you have the passive shield stacked up before fights, as well as the lifesteal to sustain throughout them. Thanks for watching everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something new. As always, if you have any questions or suggestions about future videos, leave a comment and I'll try my best to reply.